Yo! You must be the number 17 I've heard a bit about. Tiger, right?
Phoenix.
Sorry?
My name's Phoenix. I don't go by Tiger anymore. He died a long time ago.
Right. Sorry.
No worries. I assume Eddie told you about me?
Yeah, just yesterday.
Alrighty.
Nice paint job. Not very often we see black and red engines these days.
Thanks. I've worn it ever since I was restored. Though, quite frankly, I've become bored of it. That's why I'm getting repainted tomorrow.
Damn. Ah, well. Nothing lasts forever, I suppose. What colors are you thinking of?
Honestly, I was thinking of being painted red with blue stripes. Always had a fancy for those colors. I used to wear red back on the Furnace Railway before coming here.
Good choice. Red is a decent color. I'm sure you'd look splendid.
Yeah. Thanks. So, how much about me do you know?
Well, I know Edward told me about the accident you had in World War I, and that you're back, but he didn't tell me much other than that.
I see. Good.
Hey, I was curious. How did you survive that explosion anyway? Last I checked, no engine should be able to survive something like that.
That's because it was only my tender that got blown up, mate. The rest of me was able to get out in time.
That quickly? After you backed into the tanker so hard it triggered the explosion?
No. That ain't what happened, kid. You really want me to give you the details?
Well, my next train won't be leaving until 30 minutes, so sure, I guess.
Alright. I must warn you. You may not like what you're about to hear.
Bitch, I fought the First and Second World Wars, survived modernization, and saw a ton of fucked up shit over the years. And trust me, buddy, you have no idea how many weird things I've seen back then.
That one of them?
Add that to the list. But anyway, aside from that, hardly anything phases me these days.
Well, alright. Here's how this shit went down. You might as well get comfortable. This ain't exactly a walk in the park. A long time ago, before the creation of the Northwestern Railway, I was built alongside my older brother, who went by the name of Nicodemus, or Nico for short. We never became official members of the Furnace Railway, despite being built by them, and carrying numbers already worn by two of their engines. Instead, we were prototype engines made specifically to do work on the Sodor and Mainland Railway, after their box tanks were withdrawn from service. There were, of course, other engines who helped us around the line, but Nico had a rough exterior towards everyone, aside from me, who just wanted to do my work. Nothing more, nothing less. When we were given our own liveries, I, of course, was given the standard green S&M livery. But Nico, however, he wanted to be different. He wanted to be painted grey with black stripes and carried a number 15. Now, back then, this was unusual. because he was actually the 6th engine to come to the railway, not the 15th. But the reason why he wanted that number was because he carried it on our old railway, while I was number 16. He didn't want to let go of something from his original home, I suppose. Eventually, with enough persuasion, his wishes were granted, and he unofficially became the 15th engine of the S&M. However, he didn't live long enough to gloat about it. One day, he got into an accident with some trucks. A bridge was being constructed that day. He never got to make it to the other side. He was too damaged to be repaired, and so he was sold off for scrap. This event changed me drastically, and I've never shown a positive outlook on trucks since then. The rest, I'm sure you might have already heard from Eddie. Anyway, after Nico was scrapped, I was repainting his old livery in memory of him, and they even allowed me to keep the number he wore, 15. Now here comes the part that I'm sure you want to hear the most. How I survived the accident that supposedly claimed my life. Tell me, have you ever heard of Ballyhoo's shunting yards? You kidding? Who hasn't? After the war, those yards became abandoned until after the Normby line was restored in 1972. Well then, I guess that'll make my explanation of events easier. One day, in 1918, I was tasked with collecting some ammunition and delivering it to the military camp stationed on the mainland. My destination was Ballyhoo's shunting yards, which I believe nowadays are called Tiger's Yard. A fitting memorial for the engine who died there. Figuratively, of course. Anyway, I arrived at the shunting yards where the Sudrian military camp was active, and the goods I was supposed to retrieve were ready to be taken to the mainland. But just before I could leave, disaster struck.
Total is auf Sicht! Total is auf Sicht!
We gotta get out of here!
Two right there. We can't take the gunpowder with us though. One of those goons will shoot it, causing it to explode. We're going to have to uncouple you from your tunda.
What? But all my cold water's back there!
That's true, but right now it's dangerous to go out and uncouple the train normally. Besides, what other choice do we have?
I'll get to work uncoupling him, Larry. You go take whatever coal we need to get out of here.
On it, Bob!
Got it! Now let's get the hell out of here!
I didn't dare look back, but everything started to flash before my eyes even after I'd escaped the touch of death. I couldn't respond as I tried my best to process what happened. I could have died. We eventually stopped at an old line that belonged to the Wellsworth and Sudbury Railway. I believe the station was called Dara. You won't find it on the map anymore. The area was wooded and part of an old abandoned logging station that had long closed down, which we thought would be the perfect cover for us to hide in. I was put into a shed, and my crew left me alone to hide in the town, promising they'd come back for me once the war was over. But they never came back. I don't know what happened to them. All I can think of was that they might have been found by enemy spies and executed. But whatever the case, It doesn't change the fact that I continue to stay in that shed for many decades. That is, until 1986, when I was finally rediscovered, and I was taken to the steamworks to be restored to my former glory. But I was too afraid to let Edward know I was still alive, because I was worried that he might still hate me for how I acted. Instead, I was assigned to mostly work on night trains, taking the mail, midnight freight trains, things that Edward normally wouldn't be caught doing in the dead of night. At least as far as I'm aware. And yeah, I know, I should have just gone back to him from the very start. But I was too much of a coward to do so, alright? But, regardless, we reunited last month, exchanged the stories about what we've been through, and put the past behind us. But despite that could never change the pain I've gone through to get there. A pain I'm still struggling with to this day.
Whoa. That's some tale, Phoenix. Yep. Ever since that day, I'm still haunted by the experience. But I know now that if they hadn't happened, I wouldn't be the engine I am today. So there's that at least. Although, I know that we won't be together forever. Look at us. We're old engines. We're not getting any younger. Admittedly, I have my own little worries about it. One of us could go out of service, or get decommissioned at any minute, and we wouldn't even expect it. Hey, I know what you mean. I have them too. You do? Yep. I head back to my shed berth, look around at my friends, and feel relief. Thinking, finally, another day down. Then I think of tomorrow, and the fear is back. Will I see the same faces when I wake? Will I even be around to see them? Easier with the time, I suppose. With all these newer, younger engines coming in all over the world to make the world a cleaner place than we make it be, you know when it's coming. Can you really speak for them, though? For someone nearing the end? Because I couldn't tell you. All we can possibly do is wonder what it's like. What can one feel? Contentment, perhaps? Or sheer horror? I hope it ain't fear. That'd be a bum way to go out. Yeah. Me too. You know, now that you've said all that, I wonder what Edward said when he found out about everything you've been through. He was, understandably shocked, but he was surprisingly quick to forgive, as he had his own share of regrets too. And honestly, I don't blame him one bit. I'm glad you two reunited and made amends. Thank you. Hey, you know how you said you were gonna get repainted? Yeah? You know if the Steamworks has room for one more engine? Maybe. You're thinking of getting repainted too? I'm honestly surprised. I would have thought you of all engines would have stayed attached to your livery, from what I've heard about you. Yeah, for a while, I was. But I've been thinking about what you said earlier, about getting repainted. And I realized, as much as I love the red paint, I think it's time for a change of pace. Of course, this won't be permanent, mind you. But hey, nothing is, am I right? You got me there. So, what color are you thinking? I'm thinking purple would be nice for a bit. With white stripes. Whoa. Now that doesn't sound like a livery you'd look bad in. Glad you think so. Well, that's my cue to leave. See ya. Later, Jimmy.
told him everything. You happy?
You took a lot longer than I realized. No matter. All water under the bridge.
Enough games. I've already upheld my end of the bargain. Now it's your turn.
Ah, yes. I remember now. We agreed that if you told your brother what really happened to you, I would tell you who I am. I'm disappointed it took us only 32 years for us to get here. But never mind. I learned patience a long time ago. Regardless, I am glad you finally started to let it go. After all,
it was my duty, as your brother, to look out for you.
Tiger? Oh, sorry. Phoenix, I mean. Goodness, that name's going to take some time to get used to. Are you alright? You look quite shaken up.
Yeah, I'm alright, Ed. Just couldn't sleep well is all.
You want to talk about it?
Nah, there's nothing for you to worry about. This time, it's rather personal.
Very well then. But if you ever change your mind, you know who to turn to.
Thank you.